Hello children, in this class we will discuss the same lesson 8, Natural Resources of India. In our previous class, we have discussed renewable resources like air, water, sunlight, wind. In this class we will discuss non-renewable resources, page 273. Non-renewable or exhaustible resources will run out or will not be replenished for thousands or even millions of years. Their supply is slowly getting over. Most sources of non-renewable energy are fossil fuels, which include coal or petroleum, formed from the remains of plants or animals. They were created as the remains of creatures decomposed millions of years ago. Under huge amounts of pressure and heat, most fossil fuels are burned to produce energy and electricity. Non-renewable resources, one day what will run out, means it will be finished up, and after finishing it, we have to wait for thousands or even millions of years to get back. Why? Because it takes thousands or millions of years to renew once again. And so they are supplied slowly and slowly. Whatever we have, the non-renewable resources, slowly and slowly it is getting over because we are using it. So we have to use it limited so that it will remain for a long time. Why? Because it takes millions of years to form. Most sources of non-renewable energy are fossil fuels. So the sources from where we get non-renewable energy, those are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means coal or petroleum. These are known as fossil fuels. And how coal and petroleum are formed? These are formed from the remains of plants or animals. Millions of years ago or thousands of years ago, plants or animals were buried under the earth. So they were decomposed millions of years ago. They got decomposed due to huge pressure and heat. So they change into fossil fuels. They changes into non-renewable resources thousands of years ago. So that resources, non-renewable resources, we are using it now. So one day it will get over. So we have to use it as much less we can. Most fossil fuels are burned to produce energy and electricity. So these fossil fuels, that is non-renewable resources, we use for producing energy and electricity. Next, coal is one of the most useful non-renewable natural resources. It is used for many purposes like cooking, producing electricity, and for heating. It is used both in homes as well as industries. Machines and vehicles also run coal. So coal is also one of the most useful non-renewable natural resources. Coal also takes thousands of millions of years to form. And coal is used for different purposes. Coal is used for cooking, for producing electricity, for heating. Coal is also used in homes and industries. Also, coal is used to run machines and vehicles. Next, petroleum. Petroleum is also non-renewable resources. Petroleum is oil which is found under the surface of the earth or under the seabed. It is a source of fuels such as petrol and diesel. Petrol is a rare natural resource as not many countries in the world have petrol reserves. Petrol is also known as liquid gold. Bombay High in India is a petroleum reserve. So petroleum is also one of the natural resources, non-renewable resources which is found under the surface of the earth or under the seabed. Under the earth we will find petroleum, and from petroleum what do we get? We get petrol and diesel. From petroleum petrol and diesel is made. Okay. Petroleum is a rare natural resources. Means we will not get petroleum here and there. In every places petroleum we will not get. Why? Because petroleum is a rare natural resources. Only in few places, in some places or only in few countries we will get petroleum reserves. In India we have a petroleum reserve which is called Bombay High. Okay, in Maharashtra, in Mumbai there is a place, okay, which is called Bombay High. In the picture here you can check it out. Okay, this is, so under this seabed what we will find? Petroleum. Okay, petroleum is extracted from this reserve to get petrol and diesel. And petroleum is also known as liquid gold. Which is known as liquid gold? The answer will be petroleum. Okay. So we have to use limited. Okay. Use the minimum. We have to save and use it. Next, metals like iron, bauxite and copper are useful natural resources used to make many important objects of daily use. So metals are also non-renewable resources which we get under the earth. Okay. Metals examples are iron, bauxite and copper. These are some metals. These are very useful natural resources. Okay. And these metals are used to make different things, means different important objects which we use in our daily life. Next, conservation of natural resources. Conservation is the care and protection of the earth's resources so that they can last for future generations. It is very important to use both renewable as well as non-renewable natural resources carefully. Since non-renewable resources take a long time to form, they should be preserved. As much as possible, we should endeavor to use alternative energy, which is a form of energy derived from natural sources, such as the sun, wind, tides, or waves. Conservation is the care and protection of the earth's resources. Means conservation of natural resources. What do you mean by conservation of natural resources? Means we have to take care and protect, okay, all the resources, whatever we have in our earth. All the natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable resources. Why? Because it is very important. We have to take care and protect our natural resources. And non-renewable resources take a long time to form. So renewable resources, all the renewable resources like air, water, sunlight, they renew itself again and again. But non-renewable resources like petroleum, coal, okay, this will not renew again and again. Okay, once it is finished, it will take thousands or millions of years to get back. So that is why non-renewable resources, all the non-renewable resources we have to preserve. Okay, we have to preserve it, we have to take care all the non-renewable resources as it takes a long time to form. That is why to save, to protect the non-renewable resources, to conserve it, we have to use it limited, we have to save and use, and we should try to use another source, alternative energy, instead of using the non-renewable resources like coal, petroleum. We have to use alternative energy which we get naturally, which is formed naturally like the sun, wind, tides or waves. Okay, why? Because from sun, wind, tides or waves we can convert energy from these renewable resources. So dear children, I hope you understood about conservation of natural resources. Some of the ways of conserving natural resources are, so here some points, okay, 5 points are given here. How to conserve natural resources. how to save, how to protect our natural resources. Some points are given here. So let us check it out. The first one is using water judiciously by employing simple methods such as closing taps and reusing water for gardening can conserve water. Means we should save water as much as we can. We should not keep the taps open unnecessarily. If we are not using the taps, we have to close it. Okay? Because why? Because simply water will be wasted. Okay? And also we should try to reuse water. For example, if there is some water, okay, in a bucket, if it is not clean for drinking, not pure for drinking, we should not throw it. Instead of drinking, we can use that water for gardening. Okay, we can water plants, for watering plants. So we have to reuse water for gardening can conserve water. We should not throw the water away. Okay. If the water is not clean, not pure for drinking, we can use in another way instead of throwing it, instead of wasting it. Next point is planting trees prevents soil from getting washed away. We should plant more and more trees. Why? Because if we will plant trees, okay, the roots of that tree will retain the soil from being washed away. Okay? Why? Because in the soil, if there are no trees, okay, what will happen? Water will be able to wash the soil away easily. But if we will plant trees, what will happen? The soil will remain in its place. Why? Because the roots will retain the soil from being washed away by the water. Next point is switching off lights and keeping a check on the usage of home appliances can bring down the electricity consumption. So also we have to save electricity. Okay? How we can save electricity? Why we have to save electricity? Because we get electricity from natural resources, isn't it? So we have to save it. How we will save electricity? By switching off all the lights if it is not in use. And we have to keep check on the uses of home appliances. Okay, we should use it the minimum. If suppose simply if we are running the fan, if we are switching on the fan and no one is there, simply we are wasting energy. So we have to switch it off if it is not in use. Okay. Next, recycling paper waste will save trees. So we have to recycle paper waste. Once a paper is used, we have to recycle and we should use it again after recycling. Why? Because if we will use more paper, more and more trees we have to cut, which is not good for our environment. So recycling paper waste will save trees. We have to recycle all the paper waste and reuse it. Next, using carpools to travel can save fossil fuels. So to save petrol or diesel, we have to use carpools. Means 4 persons, for example, 4 persons from a family are going from one place to another. They are traveling. Okay. 2 persons are using one car and 2 persons are using another one. Okay. So to travel from one place to another, 4 persons are using 2 cars. Okay. So instead of using 2 cars, if we will use 2 cars, what will happen? More petrol or diesel will be required. So instead of using two cars, we can use only 1 car to save the resources, natural resources like petrol or diesel. Okay. So in this way, we can use carpools to travel from one place to another. So dear children, I hope you understood about this lesson. In this lesson, we have learned all the natural resources, whatever. What do you mean by natural resources? All the natural things, whatever we get, okay? Whatever we get in this earth, on the surface of the earth or under the earth. Natural resources are divided into two parts, two types, renewable and non-renewable resources. And what do you mean by renewable resources? All the natural things which are inexhaustible, means they can be renewed, they can be replenished again and again, we can get it. That is known as renewable resources. And examples are wind, water, sunlight, soil, forest, land. Okay? Why? These are renewable because these natural things do not take thousands or millions of years. Okay? They renew easily. They are natural things which renews themselves. They renew naturally. Next, non-renewable resources. What do you mean non-renewable resources? Exhaustible. That means this cannot be replenished. Okay? They cannot be renewed. Okay? So, why? Because we have to wait for them. We have to wait to get it renewed. We have to wait for thousands or millions of years. Then only they will get renewed. They will not be renewed naturally. Okay? It takes thousands or millions of years to get it renewed. Okay? And which are the examples of non-renewable resources? Fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, metals. So these are the natural things which we get from our earth. Okay? Which we have to wait for thousands or millions of years to get it back. So, whatever we have, whatever the non-renewable resources like fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, metals we have now, we have to conserve it, we have to protect, we have to use it carefully. We have to use the minimum and try to use alternative source of energy. Like, next we have learned about conservation of natural resources. Means how to protect, how to take care of our natural resources. Some of the points we have discussed are, we should use water judiciously. Okay? We should use simple methods to save water, and we should reuse water. We should not waste it. Also, the next point is plant more trees. We should plant more and more trees to stop the soil erosion. Means, if we will plant more and more trees, what will happen? The soil will remain, the soil will not be washed away by water, by rain. Limit electricity use. Also, we have to use electricity in limit. We should not waste the electric energy. If it is not in use, we have to switch it off. Next point, we have learned about recycled paper. We have to recycle paper. We have to reuse after recycling the paper. Why? Because if we will recycle and use the paper, less trees will be cut and used. But if we will not recycle and reuse, what happens? More and more trees will be cut off, and that cutting of trees, that is deforestation. Okay? That will not be good for our environment. And also we have to use carpools. Okay? Means instead of traveling from one place to another, okay, with two cars or two vehicles, if we can use only one. Instead of using two, we can use one and save the petroleum. So dear children, I hope you understood about this lesson. In our next class, we will discuss workout page 275. Thank you. Have a nice day.